what can people start doing for 2024 to start preparing themselves within that market so that they could not be in a financial situation where they have to now give up their house to the banks on a foreclosure or a distress sale?
Well, I think it comes down to understanding what's going in and what's coming in and what's going out of your budget, right? I think it's become too easy to consume today. All you got to do is tap. You could tap 4 or 5 times in a day and not realize you spent $120 on frivolous things, right?
And the funny thing is, too, at the end of the month, that bill's coming in.
That's right.
And then if you don't pay that bill, that interest on that credit is very high. And that's what really destroys people. I know for myself personally, at the end of every month, if I use that tap, it's getting paid off.
And one of the things I tell people is, listen, you could be very innovative and you could be using all the technology that's helping you make life easier, but do this for yourself. Print out the last 3 to 6 bank statements and credit card statements in hard copy. Because usually when you're looking at your transactions, you're only seeing 4 or 5 at a time on your phone. You're not seeing the whole month.
Yep.
You got to scroll, right? And you're really only visualizing 5 or 6 at a time. Print those statements. Look at what you're spending money on. And believe me, you could find a lot of stuff in there that probably you don't need, right? So
and that are probably fixed.
Exactly.
Right? They're fixed expenses.
Subscriptions, memberships. I always chuckle. January, everybody joins the gym. By March, nobody's going anymore. But the payment's still going through every month.
Right.
So people have to start taking a bit more responsibility and respect the money you earn. Don't give it away. Don't spend it frivolously. You work hard for it. Get as much out of it as you can. So start looking at those statements. Start looking at what is a need and what is a want, and just focus on what you need, because that's the first step. Because you can find $300, $400, $500. Call your auto and home insurance company and say, listen, I need a break. Increase the deductible, increase lower coverage. Find out if you really need everything you have. You might save a few $100. These are all things you have to do in a proactive manner to help keep more of your money in your pocket, to help you pay for the increase in interest rates that's coming on that renewal, on that maturity date, which you better start preparing for. And for the folks with variable rates that had static payments, you're going to adjust at maturity too. So not only are you going to see a rate increase, you're going to see a payment increase to take in all the negative amortization that's been piling up for the last few years. So these are all things people got to do, and you got to be creative. Find part-time jobs if you can.
Enjoying this episode? Subscribe to our channel and leave us a comment down below to let us know what you want to learn next.
Rent out a basement if you have the ability to convert, now that the bylaws are in place for you to do so. Look at the opportunities that are out there to help you increase your income and lower your expenses.
If you look at the new rates today, the average is about, and we're going to talk about a big chunk of the population, the average is about 60% of the income that they produce is going to go towards their mortgage payment every single year, which I think average household income rate now is about $120,000 combined income between husband and wife, right? So it leaves you with 40%. And after, you're really not being able to save, especially when you got all these interest that you're paying every single month on these line of credits or these credit cards and stuff like that. What's your opinion on the best option for somebody to start consolidating their debts? Would you recommend to maybe speak to a financial advisor like yourself or a mortgage specialist who can maybe, if that renewal is coming up, maybe increase slightly, that mortgage that they have on their home, take an extra $30,000, pay off all that credit card debt, pay off that line of credit, have that clean balance. I know you're going to have a little bit of a higher mortgage on it, but at least it's that one mortgage payment that's going to come out every single month, and it helps you manage a little bit better. Would you recommend something like that?
Well, Nick, I think there's going to be a balance that people have to figure out between cash flow and interest cost. And the next 12 to 18 months could very well be a cash flow crunch. So people should be lining up all their debts, finding out what their payment obligations are, and is there a way to minimize that so they could get through the next 12 to 18 months. They may spend a little bit more on interest, but if you can reduce the cash flow to get you through the hump and see to it that you get to the next 18 months, that may be the plan. But you should sit down with somebody. There are great budgeting apps out there. There's a ton of them. And none of them come to mind because I don't want to be an advertiser. I don't want to advertise any of them. But if people need help with this stuff, reach out to a mortgage professional. You call my office. I'd be happy to help you out. But there are opportunities for people to limit their cash flow or improve their cash flow by doing some type of refinance, restructuring, I call it.
Yeah.
Because the interest rates are still relatively high to what they've been paying before. But credit cards, lines of credits are still
they're much higher than 7% that you're going to get in the market today.
So there may be an opportunity, but I also think that folks are going to be really stuck between, do I lock in for a long term or do I wait for the variable to come down? And there's this balance and this fight that people are having about what to do. And this is where we look at how much they earn, how much equity they have, how much timeline they're dealing with. And we got to make some assumptions. We got to forecast some things and let them digest what's best for them and their family, because it's not a one size fits all.
It's not. And I think most importantly, what people forget is to make sure that they pay themselves first. And they forget to do that themselves, right? You got to put that a certain percentage of whatever income you're doing towards, a safety net. And I think people don't do that today because they're just too busy just paying off their MasterCard first and paying them off first and paying their line of credits first and paying their mortgage, right? And I know they got to put food on the table, but it's kind of almost prioritizing yourself because you need to have, a safety net for yourself and for your family just in case these things do arise where markets will shift and they turn. And those that haven't prepared themselves are going to be the ones that are going to put themselves in financial strain. And there are people right now that are going to be coming up for those mortgage renewals that are going to be facing this payment shock, and it's going to be hard for them. So they should start looking at maybe sitting down with a mortgage professional, look at what their options are, look if they can start consolidating some debt, look if they can start paying off a lot of the debt that they've currently built up, when over the years, and there's a lot of people within that position. And I think that's a good start right now for 2024.
And in some cases, the answer is going to be you should sell.
And that may be the situation.
And that's
Correct.
the part that
Yes.
is tough to hear.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, in cases like that, it's the right decision.
Yeah.
People are over their head. When you
Sometimes you got to pull chips off the table. They say,
exactly.
right?
Like when you're running out of money before you run out of month, you got a problem. So you got to improve your situation by making a change. And a lot of people get stuck in these situations where it's like, no, I could get through it. Well, how? The hole's getting bigger. So you don't, they say when you're at 6 feet under, you stop digging. Like you don't need to dig anymore. Get out and figure it out. Yeah. But some people just can't come to grips with the reality that they got to make a change. I don't know if it's peer pressure. I don't know if it's trying to keep up with the Joneses. I'm still trying to figure out who these fucking Joneses are. I want to know who they are. Like everybody talks about them, but nobody knows who they are.
Yeah.
So people got to start looking at reality and face the music and make some tough decisions that is going to help them long term.
Looking to buy or sell? Call a team you can trust. Don't believe me? Our Google reviews say it all. Put us on your lawn, your house will be gone. TheOPteam.com.